Hi, it's night time and I'm in bed, but I just wanted to read you a little bedtime story before I go to sleep. So this is Click-Clack the Rattlebag by Neil Gaiman. Before you take me up to bed, will you read me a story? Do you actually need me to take you up to bed? I asked the boy. He thought for a moment, and then, with intense seriousness, yes. Actually, I think you do. It's because I've finished my homework, and so it's my bedtime, and I'm a bit scared. Not very scared, just a bit. But it's a very big house, and lots of times the lights don't work, so it's sort of dark. I reached over and tousled his hair. I can understand that, I said. It's a very big old house. He nodded. We were in the kitchen, where it was light and warm. I put down my magazine on the kitchen table. What kind of story would you like me to tell you? Well, he said thoughtfully, I don't think it should be too scary, because when I go up to bed, I will just be thinking about monsters the whole time. But if it isn't a little bit scary, then I won't be interested. And you make up stories, don't you? I know she says that's what you do. She exaggerates. I write stories, yes. Nothing that's been published yet, though. And I write lots of different stories. But you do write stories. Yes. The boy looked up from the shadows by the door where he was waiting. You know the ones about the Click-Clack the Rattlebag? I don't think so. Those are the best stories. Do they tell them at your school? He shrugged. Sometimes. He was a precious child and was unimpressed by his sister's boyfriend's ignorance. I could see it on his face. Everybody knows them. I don't, I said, trying not to smile. He looked at me like he was trying to decide if I was pulling his leg. He said, I think you should take me up to my bedroom and then you can tell me a story before I go to sleep, but a very not scary story, because I'll be up in my room, and then it's actually a bit dark up there. He said. I asked, shall we leave a note for your sister telling her where we are? You can, but you'll hear them when they get back. The front door is very slammy. We walked out of the room, warm and cosy in the kitchen, into the hallway, into the big house where it was chilly and drafty and dark. I flicked the light switch, but nothing happened. The bulb's gone, the boy said. That always happens. Our eyes adjusted to the shadows. The moon was almost full, and black and white moonlight shone through the windows and onto the staircase into the hall. We'll be all right, I said. Yes, said the boy, soberly. I am very glad you're here. He seemed less precious now. His hand found mine and held on to my fingers, comfortably, trusting, as if he had known me all his life. I felt responsible and adult. I did not know if the feeling I had for his sister, who was my girlfriend, was love, not yet. But I liked that the child treated me as one of the family. I felt like his big brother, and I stood taller, as if there was something unsettling about this empty house. I would have not admitted it for the world. The stairs creaked beneath the threadbare carpet. Click-clacks, said the boy, are the best monsters ever. Are they from television? I don't think so. I don't think people know where they come from. Mostly, they come from the dark. It's a good place for the monster to come from. Yes. We walked along the upper corridor in the shadows, walking along from patch of moonlight to patch of moonlight. It really was a big house. I wished I'd had a flashlight. They come from the dark, said the boy, holding my hand. I think probably they're made of the dark, and they come in when you don't pay attention. That's when they come in. And then they take you back to their, not nests. What's a word that's like nests, but not a nest? A house? No, not a house. A lair? He was silent then. I think that's the word, yes. Lair. He squeezed my hand. He stopped talking. Right. So they take the people who don't pay attention back to their lair, and then what do, your monsters? Do they suck all your blood like vampires? He snorted. Vampires don't suck all the blood out of you. They'd only drink a little bit just to keep them going and, flying around. Click-clacks are much scarier than vampires. I'm not scared of vampires, I told him. Me neither. I'm not scared of vampires either. Do you know what the Click-Clacks do? They drink you. Like a Coke? Coke is very bad for you, said the boy. If you put a tooth in Coke in the morning, it will be dissolved into nothing. That's how bad Coke is for you and why you must always clean your teeth every night. I'd heard the Coke story as a boy and had been told as an adult that it wasn't true, but was certain that a lie that promoted dental hygiene was a good lie, and so I let it pass. Click-clacks drink you, said the boy. First they bite you, and then you go all ishy inside, and your meat and all your brains and everything except your bones and your skin turn to a wet, milkshakey stuff, and then the Click-Clacks suck it all out through the holes where your eyes used to be. That's disgusting, I told him. Did you make that up? We'd reached the last flight of stairs, all the way into the big house. No. I can't believe kids like you make stuff like that up. You didn't ask me about the rattlebag, he said. Right, what's with the rattlebag? Well, he said, sagely, soberly, a small voice from the darkness beside me. Once you're just bones and skin, they hang you up on a hook and you rattle in the wind. So what do these Click-Clacks look like then? Even as I asked, I wished I could take the question back and leave it unasked. I thought about huge spidery creatures, like the one in the shower that morning. I'm afraid of spiders. I was relieved when the boy said, they look like what you aren't expecting, what you aren't paying attention to. We were climbing the wooden steps now. I held on to the railing to my left and held his hand with my right as he walked beside me. It smelled like dust and old wood that high in the house. The boy's tread was certain though, even though the moonlight was scarce. Do you know what story you're going to tell me to put me to bed? He asked. It doesn't actually have to be scary. Not really. Maybe you could tell me about this evening, what you did. That wouldn't make much of a story for you. My girlfriend just moved to a new place on the edge of town. She inherited from her aunt or something. It's a very big and old house. I'm hoping to spend my first night with her tonight, so we've been waiting an hour and a half for her and her housemates to come back with the wine and takeaway food. See, said the boy. There was that precious amusement again. But all kids can be insufferable sometimes when they think they know something that you don't. It's probably good for them. You know all that, he said, but you don't think. You just let your brain fill in the gaps. Then he pushed open the door to the attic room. It was perfectly dark now, but the opening disturbed the air, and I heard things rattle gently, like dry bones in thin bags, in slight wind. Click, clack, click, clack, just like that. I would have pulled away then if I could, but small, firm fingers pulled me unrelentingly forward. And that's Click-Clack the Rattlebag by Niel Gaiman. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, I'll do more bedtime stories. Good night. Sweet dreams.